Welcome back to Yachting 2.0, actually 3.0. We got more yachting adventures and updates on the Trojan. Let's take a look. Here we are near the forward V-berth, and I'm going to show you guys this little staircase can come up, and I've added a couple of things in there that's going to really help out the boat and actually improve its appearance, because you'll see why here in a minute. Let's take the stairs out of the equation. So here we are underneath the staircase. You can see down in the bilge there's a little bit of water. That comes from the air conditioners. There's not a leak or anything going on. As they run, the condensation builds up, and it actually has drains. It purposely drains into the hull. And if you didn't have a bilge pump operational or different things going on, it can actually get very deep in here. I have a Rule 2,000 gallon per hour bilge pump right below my knees. But I have this little sea flow, it's called a dry bilge system. I just installed it, and I can pick which days during the week, or actually how many times a day, that it will come on by itself and start draining what little bit is left. Just like that. You can see the water leaving. It goes out a through hole out into the lake. I have it set for the early morning. So we'll set that up here in a bit, and it'll start draining this out at night. So here we have a seacock that goes to the outside that pulls lake water in through a sea strainer, and that hose goes to our air conditioners that you saw in the previous video. There's one right there. It says Cruise Air on it. Unlike the air conditioner in your house that has an outside unit and uses air to cool, that's not going to work on a boat. So they actually pump lake water through the system. It cools the Freon, and it goes right back out, back into the lake. There's the pump that actually does it. This is the air conditioner raw water pump. There's some batteries that were installed, and the previous owner had a charger plugged in the salon with cables going through the stairwell, and it was actually kind of dangerous. You can trip on it. So if you look straight behind, you can see a guest battery charger. It's charging these batteries for us. So I installed that so we can have nice charged batteries, and they're not in the way. No cables are in the way. Nothing's going to be tripped over. It's hidden when I put the stairwell back. So those are two items I've installed down here. As you guys saw in the previous video, there's a giant hatch in the salon floor that allows you access to the generator and the air conditioners and everything that's down there. And the last time you guys saw the generator, it was apart. There was the raw water impeller getting replaced by the marina. And that's all been done. Let's take a look. So everything's back together. This is an Onan 6500 watt generator. Here's the engine portion right here, where it says no step. That's the air filter. There's the intake and the carburetor. And there's a throttle control box. Behind that is the actual generator itself, the generator motor. Big square piece of cast iron, it looks like. A lot of windings and stuff in there. This is an electrical box for the generator. And I'll turn it on real quick for you guys and let you hear it. As you can see, it starts right up. No hesitation, no trouble. It runs perfectly every time. We've had it out on the water, and it charges the batteries. It keeps the ACs going, the lights going, everything perfectly fine. It handles the load perfectly. A lot of people say these are not good generators, but I've had zero trouble with it. It starts, like I said, it starts every time. And it's quiet. It's actually very quiet. Just like the engines and just like the air conditioner, this thing is liquid cooled, but not by antifreeze. You see the red, kind of the red colored hose that goes down to another seacock that pulls in lake water. and runs it through the engine, then through the exhaust, which is the big canister there. That's actually the exhaust. It fills with water and muffles the sound. It pumps the exhaust and the hot water out to the lake. There's also one other thing I've installed. We've been doing lots of projects this week while we've been here at the lake, and one of them is a new head or toilet in the aft bathroom. Let's go take a look at that. So here we are in the aft head or bathroom, and you guys know from the first video there was a nasty cassette style porta potty in here that was full of 2 years of crap, and we got rid of that because we don't want to use that, nor do we want to have to get sick from it. So that left us with no toilet. We purchased a new Jabsco electric head because it has a macerator built in that grinds up the waste and puts it into the holding tank. We soon realized when we bought the toilet that it's too short. When you mount it to the floor, you would literally be squatting way down to sit on the toilet. So we built a little wooden box. You can see it, it's gray colored. Mrs. Wizard painted it. And then it uses, you can see the blue hose back there, that's PEX line, that just uses city water. And the large discharge hose, so you just fill with a little water. Then you flush it. Pretty simple. So now we have 2 toilets on the boat. My daughter can use the front one at night, and we can come in here and just use this one without disrupting each other's sleep. I also installed an LED light behind me. Let me get out of the way. It did have an old style fluorescent bulb. It was the old T12 technology, really old energy hog. And we've replaced it with a nice LED light that's very similar lighting, output, and color. It works very well and uses a lot less power. So in the first video I talked about the engines, how you sleep on the engines. They're Chrysler 400Ms, or Marine version of the Chrysler 400, which is a big brother to the 383. We really didn't take a look at the engines or how you get to them. The first step is to take the mattress off, which is I've already done, it's behind me. The next step is to take these wood panels off, so I'll go ahead and do that. This is the AC unit for back here. I just have a couple of funnels stored, so if I need them. But the AC unit takes up a lot of space. There's a lot of duct work and things of that nature. This is the evaporator core, and a blower is all that's back here. Go ahead and take this up. And this one. So here it is, guys. It is a Chrysler Marine 280, which means 280 horsepower. There are 2 of these engines, which is 560 horsepower combined. This is a typical Chrysler big block. It's nothing special other than they've made a few changes for being Marine version. There are a lot of parts on here that you could use off of an automotive style setup, but since it uses raw water, lake water, as you can see over there, that is the main intake for raw water to cool the engines. There is no antifreeze, just straight lake water. Right here is a Velvet Drive 72C transmission. It's 1:1 ratio. All it does is forward and reverse. It does not change gears or go into different gears. Up at the helm, when I select forward or reverse, it just moves this lever right there. It is also raw water cooled with lake water. It kind of shares the water from the engine. Being that these engines, as you can see, face towards the rear of the boat, you wonder, well, how did they get the power transmitted to the propellers, which also face the rear of the boat? And that is a V-drive. So as you can see, it has a very short drive shaft from the transmission to the V-drive. You can see some water in there. That's from the air conditioner. It's condensate from the evaporator core. Like I said, it just drains into the bilge like it's supposed to. That's the way it was when it was new. But all the V-drive does is transmit power around to a forward direction and at an angle down towards the propeller. There's just, I think it's gear oil, or some people have put 30 weight in there. It's kind of a thick oil that lubricates that. It is also raw water cooled. You can see the two coolers there. There's one intake and one output. The Velvet drive takes regular ATF like Dextron 3, and you check its fluid right here, right on the full mark. You see a big beige colored hose. It looks like a dryer vent hose. That is the bilge blower. It also is fresh air intake and outtake to keep the bilge gas fumes and things to a minimum. Keeps fresh air in the bilge when you're underway. Many people have been concerned about, in the comment section, fumes and gas fumes in the boat. This has two very large bilge blowers in it that when I turn them on, it evacuates very fast. It pulls fresh air in through those hoses we just showed you and pulls all the fumes right back out. That's all installed and it works perfectly well. When I'm underway with the generator running, I run the bilge blowers all the time, constantly circulating fresh air, especially when I'm at idle. There are vents on the side of the boat that take in air as you're going down the lake with no blower at all. It's just like scoops. They scoop in air. But I also run the blower just to be safe because I don't want any gas fumes in here. Some of you have also mentioned a carbon monoxide tester, which we already have installed way back when. Let's take a look. So as you can see, we have a carbon monoxide and gas fume detector already installed right at the very aft bulkhead, right next to the heater there. And it's kind of low in the boat because those types of vapors kind of sink low in the boat. We don't want them up in the ceiling. That's not where the vapors are going to go. So if there was anything that would cause any trouble with us, that would go off and alert us even while we're sleeping. The type of vapors that can be harmful to you, which is carbon monoxide, will typically be when the engines are running or the generator is running. But while they're off and the bilge has been cooled down and aired out with the bilge blowers, it's really not a concern. It's not something to worry about. But if we're sitting there idling the engines or we're just idling along, cruising real slow, that is something to worry about. And we definitely have something to detect if there's any issues. So that's pretty much what I've done this week on the boat. Let's take a look at what Mrs. Wizard has gotten done.
So welcome back, everybody. It's been a busy week. Now I know it's only been a few days since we actually showed the last video, the third video in our sequence, but we've been here for a week. We spent the 4th of July here and we had a really good time. Watched the fireworks over Duck Creek Cove. It was amazing. There was a great airplane show as well. Here's a little clip. They were really cool. Biplanes, some fighter jets. It was really cool. So great opportunity, good day to relax as well because we've been putting in a lot of hard work. What I've done in the kitchenette area is if we look down here, as you notice, it's just black, and that's okay because I painted these cabinet doors black. It was these brown color and it was just kind of a hodgepodge. It was the back splash was all black, these were brown. The dummy plate here, which was not a drawer, had a handle. I'm like, why? So I pulled out that handle, filled in those holes with putty and just painted everything black. We also upgraded the handles. Now they're just the same as that were there before, but they were silver and now they're black, and that just kind of ties together everything as well. If we look over here by the refrigerator, I did buy just a simple board and put in a nice little door that we can hide stuff. We talked about putting that little table that we bought in there if we need to get that out of the way, if we need more open space in the center. I also put a board at the bottom just to kind of finish out this look, and there we go. So now that's tied up, fits the refrigerator much, much better. This is our microwave shelf. We talked about doing it. We just didn't have all the resources together. Lots of L brackets. I know some people were concerned in comments about, is this going to be able to be sturdy, steady? And yeah, it's really sturdy, and I'm really pushing on there. And this guy is sturdy as well because in between, now there's not a lot of space, fingers on each side, okay, maybe ½ an inch on each side. Then there was a little bit of pipe insulation left on the boat. just kind of cut that in half, shoved in a part here, and now this guy is really, I mean, I can move it, but I'm like, we'd have to be doing 3,000 RPMs on the lake, and we're not doing that. So this guy is well anchored here. We also have another LED light, just like the one that's in the aft bathroom the wizard just talked about, and definitely brought this back up. We did have to scoot it over just a touch because of in the way of our new cabinet. Now, this makes it so much easier, okay? Also, put in just a simple paper towel holder, and I've discovered a secret how to keep this guy from unrolling everywhere. You just pinch him a little bit, make it oblong, and it doesn't go, it just stays like there. No more unraveling paper towels. So that was a fun one. Came in, I was like, why is there so much? I thought the cat was, that we have on the boat, you know, our stuffed cat came to life and was playing with her. No, just kidding. So got that done. In the area that leads to our cabin, and somebody in the comments mentioned that this was not the master bedroom per se of the boat, but actually this is. You're like, well, the beds aren't connected. Well, that's okay. There is some good things to being not connected and some bad things, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But this is the master suite. It has a closet area behind the door here. It does have its own bathroom and shower, which I promise we're going to get to, but we've ran out of time. But we're going to get to that shower pretty soon. So the next video, be looking for that. I thought I was going to do it this week, but too much work on that one. So even though someone can walk through our bedroom, that's usually not going to happen, and that door locks if we need to. But here, there were so many holes behind here, and I tried filling them in, but you could still see them. And so actually, I'll go ahead and pop it off. You can see lots of holes. And this was just a simple like dollar store find. And posts are tacky on the sides. I did have to put another hole in here, but putting this guy on, make sure it's level, push the corners, and it's locked in place. Simple as can be. Also have another one of these in the forward bathroom. So we came with a 2-pack for $10. I thought not too bad. Fits the motif pretty well. Also, the wizard robbed the Carver. So the radio that we installed on the Carver, we thought, would have a better use here. And so we do have this Android-based radio installed, which can be controlled with my nice Apple Watch. So if we're out surfing somewhere, enjoying some sun outside, I can control the radio with the touch on my arm. So that's been a nice addition as well. So one concern, this is my side of the bed, and I've added actually another memory foam on here to make it extra soft, and it's pretty comfortable. It is awkward sleeping with your legs under the back deck, but you get used to that pretty nicely. Does have some nice storage space back here. I did add a nice station for my phone and my watch to charge at night, and without my contacts I am blind as a bat. So I really need to have, if I want to know what time it is, I need to be able to see, you know, the clock, the alarm clock per se, pretty easily. Now one thing that's a problem is the wizard snores a little. I know, shocking. He does snore. He's smiling behind the camera, by the way. And normally at home, in our king-size bed, I can just nudge him a little bit and go, you know, kind of say, hey, you know. Here, I can't do that. You know, I can't shake the bed a little bit because bed's always moving in this case, and I'm not moving his side way over there. So I have come up with a better solution that seems to be very good in a very aquatic fashion. I have now purchased the ever-popular swim noodle. So if Wizard is snoring, I can gently nudge him because, of course, this doesn't hurt. It's made of foam after all. I can just say, hey, you know, just tap him, and he can then roll over. He's not as amused. Nonetheless, I have one more really cool thing to show you guys I've been working hard at. Let's go outside and take a peek. So my morning activity, and the reason it's morning is because when the sun is out, today's a little bit cloudy, that this end of the boat is in the shade. In the afternoon, the sun goes over that way, and it gets really hot real quick. You can imagine it's a lake, the humidity here, and it is Oklahoma, is pretty high. So my project has been doing this in the mornings, but if we take a peek, let's look down, Wizard. We've got the back swim deck fully applied with the 2 layers of teak oil. This thing has come back to life. It is so much better. It looks so beautiful. The first thing that I did was actually the railing, and I did sand the railing all the way around. It doesn't go all the way to the very front, but it does go up to about the mid-cabin area. And sanded these down because, you know, we're touching these and I didn't want anybody, you know, rough. I'd like it to be smooth. The back deck, I didn't sand it all. I left it rough. Why? Traction. Simple as can be. We need to be able to grip on there. The last thing you want to do is have your foot slip off if you're trying to climb on the boat and scrape up your shins. Otherwise, come on, Wizard, take a peek up here. On the inside, I have taken time to really meticulously go and do a lot of the trim work. There's my breakfast chair. That's how I love spinning, getting some coffee, eating a scone out here. But you can definitely see all the edges have been done. I did do the ladder leading up to the helm and a lot of the trim up here as well. Working with the decoy was pretty interesting because some of this wood was so thirsty. It was so ready to have some oil applied to it. And gravity did a lot of the work for me. When I worked on the areas like down here, I was just simply could put it here and the gravity would kind of pull it down. So you had to be really careful when you got closer down to the bottom. You see there's a few spots I've got maybe a little oil on the bottom deck. Here's my question for you. Should we leave the bottom baseboards, should we leave them the white color that they are, the natural color, or should we go ahead and stain those? So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you think in the comments. So it's been a busy week. I think we need to go home so I can take a break. Anyway, let's go talk to the Wizard.
So we've got a lot of work done on this Trojan. It is coming along so nicely. Some of you have mentioned in the comments that we should scrap this boat, and that is such a really bad idea because it is so nice. Some of you have also questioned what's going on with the Carver, the big 27-foot that was in the shop. Let's magically, wizardly teleport to the shop and we'll talk about that. Whoa, here we are at the Carver. That takes so much energy, guys, to do the wizard snapping thing. I've done it in a few videos. I don't do it a whole lot because it makes me pretty tired at the end of the day. We've actually got the Carver moved outside. Some of you have noticed in some of Hoovie's videos that it's not in the shop anymore, and that's because it's sitting out back. We have really sad news. When I got this boat, I knew nothing about boats and kind of bought it sight unseen, and that bit me. Let's take a look why. So we've done a lot of work to this. We put a lot of money into this boat, but we stopped where we were at. There's really bad news. Let's take a look down in the bilge. So you see my fingers wiggling there? That's just a through hole through the stringer. And the problem is, there's no wood there. Look at that, guys. We'll pull some of the chunks out. You can see on my finger, rotten wood. Most of this fiberglass chamber should be full of wood. It's full of hollow nothing. I can just push on the wood and it just collapses and comes apart. There's some more pieces, guys. Completely disgusting. So had I known that that's something you should check first, I would have checked that. I have checked that on the Trojan, and everything is solid in the bilge. All the stringers, all the wood is, like I said when we bought the boat, it was dry as a bone in the bilge, and all the wood is intact and solid. I'm very happy about that on the Trojan. I made sure to check that before we bought the Trojan, and it was good. That's why we went ahead and bought it. I wish I would have known that here on the Carver. Once I started moving around in the bilge and looking at things, and I found 1, 2, 3, and multiple stringers completely gone. It's not like there's a little bit of wood rot. There's no wood left. It's completely rotten out. And that's when I told Mrs. Wizard, we're done with the Carver. Because the money it would take to fix all those stringers and pull the floor up and do all that would be more than just going out and buying another boat almost.
And I was pretty sad, actually, because I put a lot of time and work into here. You can see the curtains behind you and all the painting, and it's sad. And it's not that we don't want to finish a project, it's just, it'd be a fool's errand to do.
So use that as a lesson. If you're new to boats and you're wanting to buy a boat, open the bilge and start checking all the stringers and check everything. I learned the hard way. This boat is basically scrap. So enough of the bad news on this thing. It's really sad. I really hate that. But let's go to some good news and get back to Grand Lake on the Trojan. So now we're back on the Trojan again, and now you guys see why we're not going to be keeping the Carver. We're actually going to be selling it. Someone could use it as a project, or they could part it out, but we will not part it out ourselves. We'll sell it as a whole, a complete project. It's too bad. It's really sad about that boat, but I think in the end it ended up a lot better. We ended up with a bigger yacht with more power, more room, and to me it looks way cooler. We're getting ready to get this thing set up so we can take it out on the lake. Some of you in the comment section have said they want to see more lake footage on the lake, so we're going to provide you guys with that. Let's get going on that. So here we go. We're headed out to the lake. We're just idling through the marina we're at, and unfortunately El Capitan had to work today, so he's not going to be with us, but he does say hi. But I wanted to show you guys something I learned from him that I would never have thought of on a boat. When we're going slow like this, when I first started driving this, I was steering with the steering wheel, and he looked right at me. He said, "Wizard, get your hands off the steering wheel." I was like, "What?" He said, "You don't steer a twin-engine boat at idle speed with the steering wheel. It doesn't even have any effect anyway." He said, "You use your gear shift levers." And I'll demonstrate here, as we're just coming to a stop right now. So if I want to go to the right, I use the left engine forward. As you can see, we're slowly turning to the right. It's kind of like a tank or a skid steer or something with the levers. It's the same mentality, the same idea. Now I want to go straight, so both levers forward. Now we're going straight. I can go to idle. I can do one forward, one reverse, and really do some sharp turns and sharp maneuvers. The wind is kind of up a little bit today, so I'm just kind of having to seesaw back and forth to get out to the lake, which is common. But I just thought I'd show you guys that. I thought it was very interesting when El Capitan showed me that. He's like, "Wizard, you don't steer with the steering wheel when you're going slow. You use your gear shift levers." So, apologize for the wind making the zipper noise there, but it's just the way it is. So we're getting close, and we'll get out on the lake, and we'll show you guys that. Here we go. One thing you have to do with twin engines when you're cruising out on the lake, you're finally up to speed, is you want to get your engine synchronized to the same RPM. We're at 2,000, that's about what we cruise at. This little synchronization gauge doesn't work. It's flaky. I'm going to have to replace it. But I can listen to the noise of the engines and tell that they're synchronized. Here's our little GPS. Doing about 8 or 9 knots. Which that's miles per hour. We're in 74 feet of water. Go ahead and leave you guys in my wake. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this boat or we use in the shop, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we still have Ferrari videos to come, boat videos, all kinds of cool videos in the shop. Thanks for watching.